Welcome, everybody, to Viata's Tiny House Village. We have a surprise show for you today because it's so important. A lot of people are asking about how to become a landowner, how to become a real estate owner. So I've invited my friend uh, L.A. Davis to join me because he's a landowner, and we want to help you overcome challenges to own a real estate or make the decision, do you really want to own real estate? But first, let's welcome my tiny house village. So come on in to my tiny house village. And thank you for joining me on this February 12th. Is it Valentine's Day yet? Oh no, 2 more days and everybody will be eating chocolate and sending Valentine's love, love, love. I'm sending love today even. But my friend LA and I were talking about REITs, REITs, Real Estate Investment Trust, which a friend of ours was inviting us to join. And I knew nothing at all about Ritz or REITs or whatever. I knew Ritz crackers, but not Ritz REI. So we want to help you if you're thinking about owning real estate, wanting to be a landlord, become rich and famous and all that. We want to help you make the right decision and overcome any challenges to that. Because we have experienced, my friend and I together have experienced all the challenges you could imagine in owning real estate. So I think my friend is, let's see, where'd he go? There he is. Hello, LA. Welcome.
Howdy, what's up? What's happening?
Everything is good. I'm just returning from Belize. So I'm vacationing, resting from my vacation because after Belize, you need a vacation. So I'm glad to be back in Florida. Once you've traveled and you know what I mean, once you've traveled all over the world, I love America. I just want to get in a van now and travel all over America because I've been in almost every continent. Canada, I've been to Israel, I've been to Australia, I've been to France, I've been to China, and just recently I went to the Central America and experienced that. And I've been to the Caribbean twice, 3 or 4 times. I love this country because most of the
Hmm.
roads are decent. We don't have, you can find places where there's lots of land around you. But when you go to countries like Belize, you don't have near the comforts, and even the beaches don't even compare to Florida. So I'm so glad to be here and especially to have this conversation with you, landowner, L.A. Davis. Birdland Solar Village. Okay, that sounds good. Why Birdland Solar Village? What's that about?
I'm glad you asked. Well, the first 4 acres that I purchased, which you've been to, up in Hamilton County, Florida, I named that 4 acres because it fits the definition of a forest. So the overall 4 acres, that's called Earth Wealth Forest. But within that, I'll take about a quarter acre to a half acre, and that will be Birdland Solar Village, where we'll be teaching people how to build like little solar homes.
Okay. And that's what we are about. I live in a tiny house where it's over there, 360 square feet. I moved up from 180 square feet for 5 years, which I just loved. After a divorce and a huge house, 3,000 over 3,000 square feet, swimming pool, 2-car garage, I was ready to downsize. So we want to help you who are listening today to understand the dynamics of, first of all, a real estate investment uh trust, right? RITs, they call it.
Yeah. Real estate
First of
investment
all,
REITs or
what do
REITs is
you
called.
what's been your experience, or what can you share about what you know about RITs? I knew absolutely nothing until you shared a few videos, and we're going to share some videos with people and talk about them, the good, the bad of RITs, because that's what's being promoted a lot lately. What do you know about that?
Well, now, me personally, I have not participated in one because there are other ways of owning real estate or controlling real estate, like just a basic partnership, forming an LLC, a limited liability company, things of that nature. So those are my preference. What I would suggest is they have investment dictionaries. Now we have internet access. Look up the definition of what a REIT is, or REIT as they're called, Real Estate Investment Trust, REIT, and then judge whether you want to get involved with them, and then probably listen to some presentations of people who are actually involved with them. But for me, I like just simple stuff, a partnership or LLC.
Okay, so we're going to show you, because REITs, REITs, real estate investment trusts, are becoming popular, and one of our friends is promoting one, and we were trying to figure out, well, do we want to be involved in a REIT? We're going to show you a few experts and opinions on the REIT, so you can begin to make a decision about whether you want to and be involved in a RIT. You should, and because we want you to do your homework. We want you to do your homework, and we're just going to start it right now to educate you, first of all, on what is a RITs, how does a RITs work, and then help you make a decision. And then we're gonna suggest that maybe you don't want to be a real estate owner, because I have had the most fabulous life. I'll be 70 next month. I had the most fabulous life. I own one rental property that was a nightmare. I tell you, a nightmare. It's been a nightmare. And we want to help you avoid all the traps and problems. But here's just one little quick video on how do
Oh, Beata, can I interrupt real quick?
sure.
Here's the thing about not only real estate, but I think anything in life,
Yeah.
business or even personal. No matter how much you read, no matter how much you attempt to learn, everybody eventually will get burnt. Or should I say, you'll have a learning experience. There's
Yes.
no escaping it.
Yes, yes, exactly. We just don't want you to create more stress than necessary, because you're right. Every new experience is going to have challenges, but the idea today is help you avoid some of the challenge, overcome. Let's say overcome the challenges, and hopefully they're not serious challenges. So here's our first introduction to, and this one is, how do RITs work?
REITs, or Real Estate Investment Trusts, were created by Congress in 1960 to give all Americans the opportunity to benefit from investing in income-producing real estate. REITs allow anyone to own or finance properties. In the same way shareholders benefit by owning stocks in other corporations, the stockholders of a REIT earn a share of the income produced through real estate investment without actually having to go out and buy or finance property. This video provides some insight into what REITs are and how they work. The REIT industry has a diverse profile, which offers many benefits. REITs often are classified in one of two categories: equity REITs or mortgage REITs. Equity REITs own a wide range of property types, including offices, shopping centers, hotels, apartments, and much more. Equity REITs derive most of their revenue from rent on those properties. Mortgage REITs may finance both residential and commercial properties. Mortgage REITs get most of their revenue from interest earned on their investments in mortgages or mortgage-backed securities. In addition, REITs may be publicly registered with the SEC and have their shares listed and traded on major stock exchanges. Or they may be publicly registered with the SEC, but not have their shares listed or traded on major stock exchanges. Or they may be private companies, not registered with the SEC and not listed or traded on a stock exchange. Regardless of the type, REITs operate under a specific set of rules established by Congress. A REIT is an entity that is modeled after mutual funds, is treated by the Internal Revenue Code as a corporation, must be widely held by shareholders, must primarily own or finance real estate, and must own its real estate with a long-term investment horizon. The IRS implements the REIT rules and oversees what qualifies as a REIT. The Internal Revenue Code requires a REIT to adhere to the following essential rules. At least 75% of the corporation's income must be earned from real estate as rent, real estate interest, or from...
Now, that video is actually 10 years old. You got any comments on that, LA, before I go to the next one?
Yeah, well, first thing, one of the reasons why me personally don't get involved with like a REIT is highly government regulated. Like I like things that are simple, something that your grandchildren they can understand a partnership. 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, a small amount of people, they can understand that. So for me, I'm old school like that. Even the Amish operate that way. They do a barn raising. It's with family and friends. It's simple. We're going to have this barn raising. You bring the potato salad. You bring the fried chicken. You bring the Hawaiian punch. We'll bring the boards. We'll get together. We'll build and have a good time. By the end of the weekend, we got a barn or a house built. There's no regulation or licensing needed for that.
And we can also add that you don't need a lot of money for REITs, right, to invest. Is that true?
I know nothing. I've never participated in one, so I don't know. But in the things that I participate in, you do need some money. It might not be a whole lot of money, but you do need some.
Right. So that's what's a friend of mine is promoting. You don't have to invest any money with this REITs, and you just become part of a trust. But let's just keep going. Those are the questions you want to answer. Clearly ask anyone who's inviting you to take advantage of a REITs or become part of that opportunity. Let's listen to an expert on, is a real estate investment trust a good idea? That's what if you hear, you're going to hear about this more. And this show is only 5 years old. So the one we first heard is 10 years. So things have changed probably. So pay attention to this one by the Ramsey. Ramsey's a very well-known financial advisor.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey. Yeah, he is.
So he's going to just show us in 3 minutes, is real estate investment trust.
All right, Kenneth is with us. Kenneth is in VA. In VA, of course. Virginia would be what that's called. Hi, Kenneth. How are you?
Mr. Ramsey, I'm doing very well. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, first I wanted to say that I've followed you since I was 18, and I'm 26 now, and it's really just given me a leg up on most other people who aren't doing it my whole life, and I just really appreciate it. My question for you is, do you have any advice or thoughts on investing into REITs? Not the publicly traded kind, but private REITs, like rather than investing in stocks.
They run the spectrum from really, really bad to awesome. And so I can't, as a category, say, oh, yeah, it's great, but you would really want to do a lot of due diligence. A private one scares me more than a public one for a beginning investor.
Okay.
Because whatever money you put in a private one, you need to be prepared to just forget you have that money. It's probably very illiquid, probably not going to be able to have access to the money for a long time in order to get the best returns. And you really need to be in with a group who is not milking the REIT for their profit through expenses, thereby leaving nothing on the table for the investors. And in the early days,
Right.
even the publicly traded REITs did that, to the point that for years we couldn't find a REIT that had an average annual return of over 8% in the public traded side. Nowadays, you can find them that beat the S&P, that are north of 12%. Now, not all of them do, but there are some good ones that are actually beating the S&P and would probably be a pretty decent investment for some people really interested in that. The private ones just leave you open to, you just got a lot less transparency, a lot less insight, and a lot less liquidity. It's very difficult to get out of them once you're in them early. And so if you need to get out of a publicly traded REIT, it's just like selling a mutual fund. You just sell it and you're done. And there's a market for it. Privately traded, private ones are, again, many times, not always, but many times very difficult to do. So I would want to do a lot of due diligence on a private one. I'd want to really know what was going on in the inner workings of it as best I could. I'd want the track record of the players, other deals that.
Okay, so in other words, what he's saying is do your homework, right?
Right.
There's a spectrum of good, bad, ugly, and all that. And he's saying do your homework, private versus corporate. I had no idea. So when I watched that, I was like, wow, private versus corporate. What do you, and I know private, if you're going to go in with a group of people privately and not a big company, you better know these people really well. I mean, I went into my first real estate investment with two people. One of them, a guy who claimed to know everything about real estate, and he's been doing this for a long time. And I invested a lot of money, over 10 grand, in this private, what you might call a real estate investment trust. And to this day, I'm getting monthly payments after 10 years of this, I think it's been, and still didn't have a deed to the house. That's how bad it was, because my friend and I trusted this guy. He knew what he was talking about, and he was going to do this and that. And the money I invested, some of it, I think he used it for the material for other purposes and blah, blah, blah. Oh, it was a nightmare. And then he turned out to be such a narcissist personality that I realized, okay, you made a big mistake, but let's just learn the lesson and get out of it. So thankfully, I'm getting back most of the money I put in, because it's a rental property that we don't even own, which is crazy in itself. And the house is had so many repairs needed that it's really just a step up from being homeless. That's how crazy it is. So the people who are renting it they just desperate to have a room, and it's a 1, 2, 3, like a 4-bedroom old house. Anyway, I did not do my homework with the private person that I was dealing with in this group. Mistake number one: make sure you know who you're dealing with. Investigate, talk to other people. What's this person like? What do you say, LA?
Yeah, I agree. But and like I say, not only that, but as Dave Ramsey, the video you just played with Dave Ramsey, as well as the very first one, read as much as you can about anything, REITs, stocks, bonds, whatever it might be. Read as much as you can. Go to workshops. Taking as much information, and then check out the people as best you can. And good, bad, and ugly. Then probably start off small. Matter of fact, I would recommend if you don't have any investment history within yourself, start off small, something that's
As we're all
not
aware,
complicated.
Absolutely. So here's another one titled Why REITs Suck Right Now. Now, this video is a much more recent, 3 weeks ago. Okay, so we moved from 10 years ago to 5 years ago. And this one is most recent, Why REITs Suck Right Now. So let's listen up.
REITs have been doing pretty terribly in the market right now, and they have been for the past couple of months. If we look at the S&P 500 United States REIT Index, you can see it's down roughly 12% in less than 2 months. That's pretty disappointing considering REITs were doing really well between April and November of last year. And this downward trend has expanded across every REIT sector that exists: data centers, retail, industrial, and everything in between. With late 2024 and now 2025 already appearing to be rough for this dividend-rich sector, in this video, we'll figure out why REITs are struggling so hard right now and what we can expect in the new year. Let's first compare real estate to every other major sector in the market. Sector Spider ETFs is a company that manages 11 sector-specific funds, which, as you can see, according to their website, they have a fund for utilities, technology, healthcare, and real estate, among others. Comparing all of them will give us a pretty good idea as to how real estate is doing in comparison to every other major sector. Using the sector tracker on their website, we can see that real estate has been the second worst performing sector in the entire stock market over the past 365 days. They barely beat out healthcare, which has been the worst. But they've been trailing materials, consumer staples, utilities, and basically a lot of other boring types of companies. So what explains this crazy underperformance? It's important that we zoom out for a moment because what's going on in this asset class isn't unique. This downturn we're seeing with REITs isn't just going on with REITs. This downturn is something that's happening across the entire real estate sector. A lot of home builders have been doing pretty poorly, including Pulte Group, Toll Brothers, and Meritage Homes Corporation, which have all done bad since November. It's also being experienced in the real estate services sector. That would include companies that provide brokerage services, home listing services, and transactional management. As you can probably imagine, it's also expanded to mortgage REITs. These companies either invest in pools of mortgages or they issue their own mortgages, and it's been very hard for these businesses for a while. Conditions in this sector have actually been very hard for a number of years, but the past couple months have made things even harder for them. The iShares Mortgage REIT ETF, REM, is down over 50% in the last 5 years. MREITs aren't included in the Spider Real Estate ETF, which if they were, would make things even worse. But adding to the confusion, in the past few weeks, we've been treated to some really good economic news, which has only added confusion as to why REITs are still struggling. Studies have shown that prices on consumer goods have been cooling off and that recently the consumer price index has slowed down. And yet, despite this good news that's been coming out, REITs are still down along with the rest of the real estate sector. Ultimately, the biggest reason REITs are down so hard has to do with the market being pessimistic about interest rates. And the key driver is, of course, inflation. Heading into 2024, the market was a lot more optimistic that the Feds were going to be more aggressive in cutting interest rates. However, given the fact that inflation has been so sticky, Jerome Powell has said that they don't anticipate cutting rates as aggressive.
So, looking at that information, and that's an 8-minute video. So, if you're interested, go back and check that out. But I would say that there are so many variables when you're talking about investing in real estate that you need to pay attention to. Because like he's saying, that's 3 weeks ago, now's not the time to be investing in real estate. That's his advice. And depending on what type of real estate. Now, if you wanted looking for a new home to invest in, new houses, younger houses, that may not be a good time because of interest rates. But let's just say we want to do a fixer-upper, or let's say we want to build our own houses. That's what I'm promoting, and I think LA is promoting is DIY, do it yourself. But these are the factors that you should consider if someone is offering you an opportunity to be part of our real estate investment trust. Do your homework, know the person you're dealing with, and look at the economy and the circumstances in our society, or even in your neighborhood or city that may be telling you now's not the time to do that. So LA and I both are very much into tiny house living, do it yourself, build it yourself. So we want to offer or suggest to you that you look at the opposite of owning real estate and investing in things that are risky, and you don't know the people, and start looking at social capital. We were talking about this earlier, how social capital is really the way to go. And for me personally, I have been able to travel to Costa Rica because I had social capital, meaning I had a friend that I met. I was helping her after her husband died. I was giving her coaching to help overcome the grief and sadness after her husband. We became very good friends. She has a lot of money. And when she wanted to go to Costa Rica, she's somewhat disabled. So she offered to pay my way to Costa Rica, provide food, everything, as long as I would be her like chaperone and help her out. So I got a free trip to Costa Rica twice now. I've been to Costa Rica twice. She offered the trip several years earlier because she owned a yoga. She was part of a yoga community and she wanted me to come and be part of the yoga teaching and all that. So she again paid my way, all that because social capital. Now, another time, this time when I went to Belize, I had a friend in Belize who kept saying, come to Belize, come to Belize. I did. I paid my way and I stayed at her house. She drove me around. We did tour. We did all that with very little money. Social capital can save you a lot of money, even if you're struggling paying your mortgage or your rent. So, LA, how can social capital benefit someone who's struggling to pay their mortgage or their rent, let's say?
Well, I'm gonna use you as an example. With your second tiny home, you had a DIY project where you converted a shed into a tiny house, double the size of the first tiny house that you had. So you used social capital with that because your son was involved. I think the plumber was a friend of yours or somebody that you already knew. You threw in some work. I think even your ex-husband. I don't know if he was involved with you.
The roof.
So right. So we're talking about all social capital, and at the end of it, what you're living in now, there's no mortgage. So if you want to go into anything, and I think that's the best way to learn real estate is start off with something that's a DIY project. And you have to come out of your pocket, for materials and all that, but you control the whole situation. You had a peace of mind, you got the project done, you got it done on time, and you're not in debt.
Now, I wouldn't say that was done on time, but I was able to stay in my son's house while it was being done. So I wasn't struggling or pressure. I was maybe a little impatient just to get out of my son's house because his music and all that was different, but I wasn't lacking while the project was being done. I had a very comfortable home to stay in, social capital, while the project was being completed. So, because it took a lot longer than I thought it would, and there were all kind of delays because COVID was happening back then. It was 2021, I think it was. So, the challenge to own something, and I don't own this house back here, but my son owns the land, and I get to grow food in this yard, and I get to travel more because I don't have a mortgage. I don't even pay for Wi-Fi in this place. That's how social capital works, because when you have a son who has a good job and he cares for his mother and all, then you have social capital. So there's all kinds of social capital. You got to get to know people who have money.
Right. And you know what? The social capital that you're talking about for this particular project is what I would call a de facto REIT, which isn't regulated by Congress and all that because it doesn't have to be. Everybody, it's a small circle of people. Everybody, you raised your son. So, you got your grandkids there. So everybody knows everybody. And the goodwill is there. With a regulated REIT, and I'm not a part of one now, never have been. You don't know all those people, but you know all those people. So I like to keep it real simple, just like that. Keep it.
Now,
And that's what works for me.
now there's an exchange going on between my son and I. He has a big house and I help clean it. I not help, I clean it, period. Because I owned a house cleaning business for 10 years. So this exchange you have with social capital is you giving something of value to the other person, and they're going to exchange give you
Plus,
something.
you're a built-in babysitter.
Exactly. And willingly, I love my grandchildren. So anytime he needs help with them, I'm right there. And every morning I'm there when they're here. We have breakfast together. We had a great kitchen. Mama AZ would appreciate this. We had a great kitchen table university last night and this morning. I take full advantage of sitting at the kitchen table with my grandchildren and my son. We have these great conversations. We were talking about Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance this morning at the kitchen table, because there was a lot of symbolism in there. We talked about the Squid Game, which is an extremely violent game that my grandson has played at his mother's house. He would never do that here, but anyway. So we talked about the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl performance at the kitchen table for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Amazing what comes out of 8 and 10-year-olds when you bring up topics like rap music and symbolism and PlayStation games. So the social capital can be so valuable and uplifting for you and the person involved, and then you get the benefit of supplying what you need. Whether it's no mortgage, whether it's traveling, whether it's real estate. That person may own real estate that one day they want to sell or give to you as a gift because you were so good to them. So we want LA and I here to share the opportunities as an alternative to owning real estate. Maybe you just want to develop social capital right now, because this isn't the time, as the one guy said, this isn't the time to be thinking about a real estate investment trust because of rates and all that's going on in the market and all that. But if you find someone who you really connect with, like-mindedness, consciousness, all of that, this might be the perfect time for you. You got to recognize it, which means you might need to do a little meditation and talking to people like LA or myself about what's going on in your life, and then ask for advice. Should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I go with this person or that person? Get advice from your elders. We're considered the elders, right? I think you're an elder.
Yeah, that's where we are now.
And we're only elders in the sense that we have experience. We have experienced the challenges, the losses, the heartbreak, the sicknesses, and all of that. So if you want some advice, go to your elders. Don't go to somebody 20-year-old who hasn't done anything, but go to people like us who have experienced it and share this video, especially. And let me remind you, please like and subscribe, because LA and I want to keep informing and enlightening and uplifting you in this 2025 year of major challenges. The government is going through some major challenges. I'm just loving it. I'm enjoying the Trump show like crazy. It's like, oh, what's happening? Pass the popcorn, right? But we can learn a lot from this. For instance, the Department of Education is being taken out or taken down. That's the plan in the federal government. So LA and I are here to be your new educators, your new school. LA's doing great things in his village. I'm doing great things in my village. And we want to educate you on the local and the international level. So don't worry about the Department of Education going away from the federal government. They haven't done anything anyway, other than bringing in DEI and all the other mess that's confusing our children. So the question we might ask you is, are your children confused when they come home from school? Are they learning what they need to learn to be entrepreneurs, for instance? LA, for instance, how can we teach people how to become a better entrepreneur in the real estate arena?
Well, it depends on what aspect they're involved with. Well, you know, I'm going back to your shed to tiny house thing. Um, get order, go to a workshop and get hands on and learn it. Learn by doing, and then if you decide to, let's say, you build one, convert one, and then you don't want to live in it, but you want to rent it out, then you know talk to some landlords on, you know, do you want to do Airbnb? And if you do Airbnb rentals, that's being an innkeeper. If you do long term, you're being a landlord. A landlord and innkeeper are two different skill sets. I'm a landlord. I'm not cut out. I would need somebody like you to be an innkeeper. Um, but they're two different skill sets. So learn by doing. That's what I would suggest. Start small and find your niche, and then go from there.
And you know, my grandfather, this is Black History Month. I was thinking as you were talking, this is Black History Month. And what is it about the history of melanin people that we are missing today? And I think one of the things is our grandparents, our ancestors built their own houses. My
Right.
grandfather, the house that my sisters and I would visit every summer in from driving from Chicago to Southern Illinois, which was a long drive. That house that we stayed in where my grandfather and grandmother lived was built by my grandfather. And I can remember the squeaky floors, just like this house I'm in. Sometimes the floors, some of the boards in the house squeak. And I thought about my grandfather, how that whole house, the outhouse, everything was built by his hands and maybe some friends, I don't know. We need to teach our children, especially this month, uh, no matter what color you are, the value of building your own house, maintaining it, and then helping reduce your debts and living financially free because you take the time to build your own house. Or at least we should be doing is teaching our children that it can be done because they
Yeah,
don't know.
I agree. I had a, well, if we go back, like my grandparents or great grandparents in particular, well, they only had like a sixth grade education, but they knew how to build a house. They knew how to make their own. My grandmother knew how to make her own clothes, and she had what, seven kids, six, no, yeah, six girls, one boy. She taught all of them how to sew. Now we go to Walmart or someplace and buy stuff. But yeah, I believe right. Well, the Amish and the Mennonite do it. If you can't teach them, no matter what age, learn how to build or convert, like say, like you did, a shed, convert it into a place to live.
So, speaking of sewing their own clothes, I'm sewing linen garments now because I was a seamstress back in high school. My stepmother taught me how to sew, and I kind of left it alone. But when I realized that linen, the fabric linen, vibrates at a much higher rate than, say, polyester plastic, do you realize polyester comes from petroleum products? And it actually carries a vibration of like 50 hertz, whereas linen and wool are 5,000. So we have the opportunity to wear fabric that vibrates 1,000 times more than plastic polyester. Let me tell you something. It's been intentional, I realize. The more I researched about polyester and its history, and the more I realize how the food industry, the medical system, the military industrial complex, they've all been planning for years how to weaken the population with the food, the drugs, and now I believe polyester. Because knowing what we do, I know they knew this, that when you put on polyester, you're reducing the flow of energy in your body, and you're not going to get well if you're trying to get well and you're continue putting on polyester. So I I actually created, and I'm going to show you my website. I created, let's see, where is it? I created some garments. Let's see if this comes up. This is my website. Let me make sure it's here. Okay, this is my website, yourholisticlifecoach.com. And I'm going to go to my native linens. This is the green linen poncho. I call them native linens because the pattern here is actually from a friend of mine's pattern for her grandmother's native linen poncho. And so if you go to my website, you can see, and this is one I created. It's a white with some trim I put on, but this is all linen that helps you vibrate. And there's the back of it, and helps you vibrate with 5,000 hertz. I actually put some linen together for a friend who was told that he needed to be in hospice. Now, this was 2 months ago. He's not out. He's not in hospice. He's actually doing better right now because we did some Reiki on him. But I made linen for him to cover himself with when he was sleeping, when he was working, whatever. So consider doing some linen garments from my website. You can go and send me an email and let me know what you'd like to do. All the information is on my website to contact me. And I want to also introduce you to my new book, From Fear to Faith in the Master Design. This book is going to help you prevent cancer, in my opinion, because it's a chronicle of all the people I met who taught me about their disease and why, the root cause of it. And I also, in this book, shared about German New Medicine, which is an amazing teaching about how to get to the root cause of any cancer and then pull that root out and eliminate it. So please, you can go to Amazon.com, or you can just send me an email or Cash App. And it's only 75 pages. It's an ebook because my experience is that people are not reading paperbacks as much anymore. They're actually picking up their phones and their tablets to read books. I hope you'll get that book. I'll put it in the comments below. And let's see, we got one comment here. Mama Bonfire is with us. She says, can we do this with the TP in Oklahoma? My brother has his tribal card now. Brother LA, please call me. Is that call me? Yeah, call me as soon as possible. So Mama Bonfire, I'm not sure. What do you mean do it with the TP? You mean real estate investment, and what is a tribal card? That's the question we would have. But LA, if he's still there, maybe he knows. Mama AZ is asking you to contact her, first of all. And can we do this with TP in Oklahoma? I'm not sure what that means. Her brother has tribal card now. So Mama AZ, if you can just elaborate on that a little bit, maybe LA can answer that. So we want to just wrap it up. We don't want to go too much more than an hour today. Wrap it up to say, the challenge is, if you have a desire to own real estate, own land, which might improve your future income flow. I mean, that's what only real estate is all about. Millionaires, we don't use that word too often. Why don't we use that word too often, LA? What does it mean to be a millionaire, first of all? Because we hear that, but do you really want to be a millionaire? I don't. I just want strong social capital. So I don't have to manage half that stuff, but I can go wherever I want.
These days, I think the wealthiest people are digital nomads. I mean, you got people in their 20s that have been to every country on the planet. How did they do it? They don't have a 30-year mortgage. They don't have a car note. They don't have student loans. This is stuff, but they know how to surf the web. They Their phone and their desktop is their office. So it's I'd rather be and then define what wealth is. What are your I mean, for instance, when you went to Belize or any of the places that you've gone internationally, you had the wealth of leisure time in addition to the wealth of social capital to go to those places. So,
Exactly.
what are your wealth metrics? So, because you can be a millionaire and I mean, be in debt 100. I mean, you can be in debt by 1 million or 2 million. There's a lot of people in debt for $1 million or $2 million. There's a
I
whole lot of people like that.
I saw a clip about Kendrick Lamar, the rapper who did the halftime show, about all the money he has to spend just to protect his family. His security guards own 500 grand a year. Okay, so just imagine if you got 3 or 4 security guards, because he's a millionaire, I'm sure, made over many times, and just like Kanye or Ye. So being a millionaire carries with it a lot of expense, first of all.
Well, since you're bringing up performers, what's his name? MC Hammer. He made $41 million within an 18-month period of time. He also went broke in month 19. So it's all relative. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd rather
So
be a digital nomad and gain I mean, just priceless experiences. Because look, there's only 24 hours in the day. And you can only spend so much money in a day. You can only eat so much in a day.
okay, so you can either be a millionaire with your gift, say rapper, singer, whatever, and have to have security because you're so famous and popular, or in this case, what we're talking about today, real estate or land ownership, you're only going to be rich or a millionaire if you own more than one piece of land, right? If you only own one piece of land, either that land's going to be have to making you a lot of money with cows and horses or chickens or something. You're going to have some kind of commodity on that one piece of land to make money to just provide your home, your food, and your needs, personal needs, clothing, shelter, all that. But we're suggesting here there are alternatives to seeking to become a millionaire and just seeking to have great relationships, number one, where you don't have to have all those expenses and stress and headaches. Build your
Yeah,
relationship.
and we can do a whole, not today, but some other time. I call it wealth metrics. There are other ways to measure wealth besides government issued currency. And I'll give you an example, and I'll land on this. You can take Mark Zuckerberg, the Forbes 400. You take Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, all billionaires, multi-billionaires, round them up, put all their money in a Brinks truck or whatever, and haul them off to the middle of Alaska. They will probably be dead within 60 days or less. No, well, within 90 days or less. Because your money, your stocks and bonds mean nothing if you don't know how to navigate the wilderness of Alaska. Now, the Eskimo, who's wealthier? The Eskimo who knows how to live off the fat of the land, who knows how to build a house out of ice, who knows how to forage for food and feed his family. So the wealth metrics that are good for Wall Street are absolutely no good in many parts of the world.
Absolutely. And I'll give you another example comparing what is wealth and what it means to be rich. When I was in Belize, we stopped at a home of someone in the car who wanted to say hello. And when me and the driver had to use the bathroom, so we asked her if we could use the bathroom. I mean, this house was like really sad to me. It was like so cluttered, and the inside was like, oh, I don't know if I want to use the bathroom in this house. But I did, just didn't sit down. And it was just a simple, kind of tiny house type living, but it was really sad looking. But this woman had such a beautiful personality, smiled the whole time, and 5 acres of land with fruit trees and every kind of plant you could imagine, avocados. She probably, I'm sure she didn't have a mortgage on that house. It was one of those DIY houses, no mortgage. So her face, her personality showed no stress whatsoever.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, for instance, number one, her food bill is reduced because she doesn't have to go to Whole Foods or a Publix or a grocery store for some of her food, which reduces. She does. Her need for money is dramatically less than what it is here if you live in New York City or Orlando or someplace like that. I mean, just on the groundwater that she's sitting on top of, it's probably a million. An acre can hold like a million liters of groundwater. So you don't need to buy Evian or Fiji water. She's got all she needs is a well.
Yeah.
So she's good to go.
Yeah. On the other hand, if you grew up like I did in a middle class home with teachers and educators in your life who travel a lot, all my cousins have been all over the world. I have like 12 cousins. They love to travel. They're teachers and they have always invested in real estate. They've always invested in real estate. So they have had rental property all over the place in Chicago, all over the place. And they were getting income from that property. So they were able to travel from that real estate and they traveled all over the place. Now, me on the other hand, I have only had like really 1 or 2 pieces of rental property so far in my lifetime. I love to travel to nice beaches. I just want to, Belize is not the place to go if you like beaches, nice beaches. No, no. Florida has white, sandy, blue water beaches in many areas, not Belize. The blue water's there, no sandy. Anyway, crowded, all that. But I love to travel. So I want to be able, when I'm ready, to travel to nice beaches. In any place where there's a nice beach and blue, clear water. That's my ideal of a perfect vacation. And I got that right in Florida, to be honest with you. We love in the summer. That's what my family does. We go to the beach, spend there all day, take all our equipment with us. My son keeps buying more equipment so we can have the nicest beach experience. My grandchildren love to be in the water. They could be in there all day. My grandson stay in there all day. So it depends on how you were raised and what you prioritize as having a stress-free life. Stress-free for me is going either traveling in Florida, because we got enough great beaches, or traveling when I do travel, having a pleasurable experience on the beach with maybe a pina colada or something. That's to reduce the stress, because stress is the number one killer. What causes more disease in any one person is stress. People I've known, I had 2 women in Belize sitting with me. Both of them had a stroke in their early 60s. And I'm thinking, wow, here I am 10 years older and haven't had a stroke or any of that, because I've been blessed to have a father who is an athlete and who is promoting health and nutrition and all that. But these 2 women, and then a third woman I know had a stroke. What causes a stroke? Stress. So if you want to own real estate, you want to be a landowner, you're going to increase your stress. So we're just hopeful and sharing with you today ways to, number one, reduce your stress. Whatever you want to do, make sure you do your homework so that you don't have to have the risk involved with going into real estate trust or whatever, and prioritize what is really important for you in your life and how do you get there. If you're paying high rent, high mortgage, and you want to reduce that, go to LA's show, listen to how to build your own house, listen to my Soul Purpose Healing, how to reduce your stress and have a more peaceful, joyful life, whatever you do. Okay. And that's why we brought this show to you. If there's any question, we have one question from Mama AZ, and she keeps asking if her family can do that with the TP in Oklahoma, the Davis TP. Do you know about the Davis TP in Oklahoma?
Last I heard about it, a Mexican couple bought that land, and we're talking about 6, 7 years ago at least. I talked to the I talked to the husband and wife. The deed at that time, now this is at that time, so it was in the wife's name, but the person running the show was the husband. So, but yeah, I've been. That's the last I heard on that. That's what 6, 7 years ago.
Okay, I'm calling her just to see if we can. Okay, Mama AZ, are you there?
Shalom.
Okay, you're
Dr.
on this.
V?
You're on the speaker phone with LA and I. Maybe you can clarify. What do you mean? Do what with the TP in Oklahoma?
Okay. Some major things are opening up. That's why I've been calling you, Brother LA. Napoleon Davis's TP. I don't want to say everything over the air. I need to have a reasoning privately with you and Dr. V. Now, my brother has his tribal card, Cherokee card. I put in for mine April of last year. I still haven't gotten it. My caregiver and I called the reservation day before yesterday, and they told us that verbally that I'm on the 4th tier.
Okay,
that means.
but Mama AZ,
what I want to do.
what does having a tribal card mean? Nobody, we don't understand that. Some people don't know. What does having a tribal card actually give you?
It actually sets you up with benefits. I'm waiting for mine so that I can go to the Indian Hospital here in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, you get benefits. You have look, Dr. V, Brother LA, look into the let me see how can I
so
say
you
this?
mean if you have a tribal card you can buy real estate or you can invest? Does that give you benefits for real estate?
Benefit, yes,
Okay,
yes, or land and that kind of thing. And this is where I'm going.
Okay,
and
okay. All right,
I don't
well,
want to say
yeah.
anything else.
All right, thank you for clarifying that. So Mama AZ lives in Arizona. The Native American tribal card is important for people in Arizona because they can buy land with that and have other benefits, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
medical, all that.
So thank you, Mama AZ, for clarifying that. So there you have it. Another situation, another individual who's prioritizing tribal cards in Arizona. We got 49 other states. Would love to hear your comments. Please like and subscribe. Thank you, Mama AZ. We'll talk to you later, okay?
Yes. Okay. Thank us.
So glad that she called in and commented. And I hope all of you listening to this later will write in your comments and like and subscribe. I'm emphasizing that this year. I didn't do that much last year because we really do have the opportunity to change this country by the way we communicate and develop relationships with one another, where we can buy our own land. We can do a whole lot of things when we have relationships with people who are like-minded. And that's what LA and I have been friends for probably over 10 years now, maybe more. I'm sure it's more because we're like-minded. We believe in minimalism, tiny house, do it yourself and travel. That's what life is all about. People who don't travel probably don't appreciate this country very much because I have been all over the world. I love this country more and more. The more I travel, I come back here. We don't have holes in the road. Oh my goodness, we have the best beaches, and there's so much freedom here. If you really look around, you have a lot of freedom, and your consciousness, the way you think, will attract the best and the most beautiful things in life, people, land, whatever you want. You can attract it by your level of consciousness and try meditating to build that consciousness. So LA, do you have any final words as we wrap up here? LA has
No, I had to go get the mail, and I'm looking for
Okay.
the dog. Oh shit, she's
Okay,
right behind my feet.
get
No,
to see,
I'm good. I'm good.
we didn't get to see the dog this time. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
she'll be on tomorrow or
Uh,
whenever we do the next one.
All right. So everybody have a good day. I hope this has been helpful to you. And we leave again with tiny house village journey travel. This is the journey I've been on for the last more than 15 years now. So everybody have a good day. We'll see you on the next video coming up soon.